Hey everyone, welcome back to Bytes Digital. I'm your host, Joseph, and today I have the protocol advocacy expert, Connor, joining me, and also Vince from the Kado Money team. He is the co-founder, and everyone is familiar with their favorite on and off ramp in the Terra ecosystem. But as of late, we have actually been able to interact with Kado Money, and as they've been spreading into the Cosmos IBC world. Vince, thank you so much for coming onto the pod. I'm excited to get into this conversation with you. How are you doing today?
Hey, fellas, what's going on? Doing good. Joseph, Connor, great to be on here. Longtime fan of Bytes Digital, Flipside, both of what you guys are up to. And, it's great to be on the show. This is, a show that I, started watching and listening to when I got into the space originally. Kind of brought me, deep down the Web3 rabbit hole, listening to Pantera and Pete and those guys, and Joseph, yourself, when you came on there too. So, pumped to dive in here, share what we've been up to, and pushing forward into the cosmos and beyond.
Hell yeah. That's actually really exciting for me to hear because interacting with your guys' product when I first got into crypto, because my experience of being onboarded to crypto was also through Bytes Digital, but was also through Terra. And you guys were a primary component to that, because when I realized what you were doing was effectively closing the theoretical money loop in Terra, that was just nuts. Just for anyone who isn't familiar with the Kado Money team, what are you guys doing? What are you guys bringing to the Cosmos IBC world? And what is the development front for your team?
Yeah, so really we're, taking a kind of fresh approach at this stuff, really focusing on, payments infrastructure built for Web3 native, dApps, onboarding users and businesses directly into the Web3 space, straight from their bank account, straight from their fiat currency directly into these, Web3 native dApps. We, like you said, we started in the Terra ecosystem as kind of like our B1 go-to-market, started back in May of 2021, and actually kind of looked at it from a need of our own in the space of, we wanted to actually live on, digital currency. Why do we invest with one currency and then spend, your fiat currency? There's so much friction in terms of moving into, digital currency and then moving back to actually spend your digital currency, to spend your fiat currency. So that's what we, focused on, closing the money loop with UST as kind of like our initial proof of concept. We launched Kado Pay, which was our first, product to actually spend your UST on Amazon, directly from your Terra wallet. So you could buy your dog food, buy your groceries, buy, clothes and stuff like that. And it was a really cool, use case to actually live off of your UST, off of your, digital money. But we quickly realized, we're always trying to be super nimble in the space of, crypto and Web3. Everything's moving so fast. You can never have one vision and be set on that vision for the future of your company. You always need to be nimble and figure out, where's the best need. We're always focusing on, the demand and problems that we can actually solve as big power users of Web3 ourselves. And we realized that the need to actually get into, digital currency in the first place is so much greater than actually the future concept of spending your digital currency. Right? We know that in the long tail, spending and living off your stable coins and digital currency will come with time. But the immediate friction point and low-hanging fruit for us to solve is that 0 to 1 step of just going from your bank account directly into, stable coins or cryptocurrency in a really seamless manner. There's so much friction involved in terms of, getting your dollars into the space. And that's what we actually, focused on with our initial launch on Terra, was actually being that main on and off ramp into UST directly from your bank account. Instant, flat fee, seamless, onboarding experience. And it was kind of great to be like this. It was proving our use case basically of being this kind of community on ramp, right? Mm-hmm. We know that there's other kind of, on ramps in the space today that, they definitely have been like the first to actually, buy crypto directly with your dollars, but there's still so much to remain to be solved when it comes to that flow in terms of fees, in terms of asset slippage, in terms of support and uptime, and actually a great kind of user experience in terms of directly, onboarding into these Web3 dApps. So Terra was a great proof of concept. Obviously, a lot of ups and downs with it. We learned a lot, and the team has obviously, been. I couldn't say much more great things about our team. The way that we've, pivoted immediately after everything happened. We were never always going to be only Terra. We were always, a multi-chain infrastructure focus backed by Circle as well. So cross-chain USDC has always been in the plans for us. And, after everything happened with Terra, we just had to move and get to that multi-chain world a lot faster. And that actually ended up being, the focus of Cosmos really became front and center as we're very bullish on the Cosmos space in general and the app chain thesis and what's happening in that space. And it's so underserved from a direct fiat onboarding perspective, right? You have to buy Atom on a centralized exchange like Coinbase. You have to wait 5 days, asset or trading slippage to actually trade into the Atom token. And then after all that friction, you can then withdraw to your, Kepler wallet and then, trade on Osmosis and then go through this whole, song and dance to actually get into IBC ecosystems. And so many users are not going to go through that flow. They're just going to not convert in the first place when you have all that friction involved. So the ability to go directly into Osmosis, directly into Juno, directly into Kajira, straight from your bank account is something that we're really excited about. And we launched, back last week. So the first day of Cosmosverse, timed it around that. And the first fiat on-ramp directly into the Cosmos.
Yeah, man. That's really, really awesome. I think that the days where you could pay your rent via your 20% yield off Anchor directly via Kado, those were great times. But those are a little bit behind us now. And I think that, like you said, and for context, Vince and I had some time down in Cosmosverse together to connect IRL, and a lot of what we talked about was how, that pivot at that moment was so crucial. It was like really necessary, and how, looking back, you guys were saying like how it was better off. Like, you're glad that it kind of, obviously not glad that Terra collapsed and all of the things that came out of that, but like, you're glad that you were forced to make the pivot when you were, because like made Kado a better company, right?
Oh, absolutely. There's so much learnings of, not only as an investor, can you not, put all your eggs in one basket, but as a company, in this emerging space, like, to only be focusing on one ecosystem is, not the best approach, especially when it's hard to not get sucked into that rabbit hole when Terra was becoming so successful and becoming so, front and center in everyone's eyes. It's tough to kind of, pivot away from all of that, attention and success and demand through the platform. We did 25 million in UST, flowing through the platform in those like 2 months that we were live with some low limits to start. And, it was exponentially picking up. So, there was always kind of, we started in the Terra ecosystem. We didn't want to, cross DAO. We didn't want to cross Terra, but we also wanted to make sure that we were, we had a successful, product and experience that we needed to bring to all of Web3. Right. It's not just Terra. We're not, chain maximalists. We're very much so believers in the multi-chain world, the multi-chain thesis. And we, truly believe that kind of like this V2 community on-ramp experience is something that, all of these Web3 ecosystems need. And it's been honestly like really exciting after, everything happened with Terra to see all of these ecosystems, really excited about bringing Kado under the hood and into their ecosystem to build with their dApps, to build with their applications. And, we're really, joining these ecosystems as a, community project ourselves, and not trying to just, skim the surface of, the other on-ramps in the space today, where they really just try to launch every token everywhere. And you can't really focus in certain ecosystems and really get in the weeds with these builders. So.
See, I absolutely love the idea that you're pushing here, or just the agreements with the multi-chain experience and the multi-chain thesis, and with the actual coming of interchain accounts and also Atom 2.0 coming. I think that's going to really start kicking in, especially when like financially the actual markets are doing better. And so I think that Cosmos IBC and the development of several chains are so in line with probably the next bull market that's going to be hitting this entire crypto space. And one of those projects that I'm super excited and passionate about is Osmosis. Like, Osmosis is probably one of the most interesting ones for me because of the fact that they have a long-term roadmap for becoming a decentralized exchange. And not only that, but they're going to have their own basically app chain where there's going to be several different products launching within it, creating different kinds of app suites. I'd love to hear your thinking about how you guys have approached synergistically impacting Osmosis, and this is the general thinking behind being friendly with Osmosis. And I think it was a natural kind of bridging from Terra to Osmosis. But that's just how I feel, because I'm so bullish. I was so bullish on both Terra and Osmosis. But no financial advice to anyone who's trying to say that Terra was a good decision.
Yeah, not financial advice, do your own research, et cetera, et cetera. No, we love Osmosis as well. That's actually, I very much so, echo that sentiment. Osmosis was one of, my favorite platforms over the past year, and aside from Terra as well. And we were actually, building a great relationship with, Sunny and that team. Actually, prior to, the Terra collapse, we were people were already using UST to onboard directly to Kepler and then interchain send it to Osmosis. So it was already kind of like a 1-2 step to on-ramp directly to Osmosis. Wow. So we were working with them on making that, that seamless flow that, users can now experience today with Kado. But obviously, everything that happened, there's been a big, repositioning on both sides where, Axelar wrapped USDC is now the main, stable coin for that, platform and ecosystem, up to this point. So that's been kind of the new, positioning on that front to make it, still that same, direct onboarding experience in. But, more broadly, we're super, excited about what their vision, really entails. Where it's kind of like building this killer DEX experience where, they're doing new things on the platform that, other decentralized exchanges can't do on other L1s because of the whole app chain world, and because you can completely tweak, the mechanics of this, blockchain to best serve these use cases, right? Super fluid staking is a great example of, something that no other decentralized exchange can, really pull off today. And the whole thing we're doing around, protocol owned MEV and, a lot of exciting stuff, in the works with mesh security that they talked about last week at Cosmosverse. And, to really compete with the centralized exchange experience, which is one of their core visions, is not only having a great trading experience, but also having that direct fiat onboarding experience, right? That's something that Coinbase, Binance, et cetera, they have today that makes it so easy for new users to onboard into the space because they can connect their bank account, they can ACH bank transfer in the US directly into Coinbase and easily buy tokens. So that's essentially table stakes for Osmosis to enable that. And for us, it's a no-brainer to really prioritize that integration, not only because we're excited and bullish personally, but also they're the IBC liquidity gateway, right? Every single or almost all IBC tokens are really flowing their liquidity through Osmosis, and users can then swap to any token and then interchain send it to any app chain on Cosmos. And for Kado to be that fiat gateway into the IBC liquidity gateway is something that is really exciting. It's going to open up so many more use cases, so many more different money flows where it's all one transaction for the user, and there's a lot of smart contract work and creativity that's being done in IBC in the back end.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, right? Like the initial narrative back in 2018, 2019, where screw the banks, move all your money into a place like Coinbase, and then use that as your gateway to this to this whole ecosystem, right? We're now in 2022. It's these centralized exchanges are a black box. You send your money in there, they try to keep you in their ecosystem with their APR and their trading and whatnot. And it's that's not actually crypto, which is such a flip of the narrative, right? So it's great that teams like Kado are coming into the mix and working with true community projects that have become, blue chips, especially in IBC like Osmosis, right? Where that's where all the liquidity is. Kado is the on-ramp. We're not keeping this entire ecosystem in one interface. You have access to everywhere, but you still have that same frictionless experience of dollars to crypto anywhere you want to go. And it's just really great to see, right? That people are leaning into this narrative of, maybe centralized exchanges aren't the best. We want to go deeper into the ecosystem. Let's do it this way.
Absolutely. I think, part of our core thesis is, you saw the centralized exchange, risks as well. Even over the past week, Coinbase had, halted withdrawals off the platform. And that just creates, they recently this past year, they kind of disclosed the fact that if something were to happen on an insolvency standpoint, then, it's your funds on the platform are not your funds. They're the exchange's funds. Yep. And, that's not the future of crypto from our perspective. The future is self-custody, kind of like the sovereign individual standpoint of the first time you can truly own your money. And, you can, with Kado, instantly move in a self-custodial manner directly from your bank, directly to your self-custody wallet and back, right? We're not going to halt withdrawals. We're not going to, hold funds on your behalf and kind of get into that mix. But also, we're really building towards that full Web3 use case of the tail end of users really kind of going through that, educational experience to really becoming crypto native, where, they're going to come to a centralized exchange like Coinbase when they first hear about crypto to start buying tokens. It's going to be easy for them. That's simple. They don't have to worry about, wallets and seed phrases and all that stuff. And through, once you get invested in crypto, you inevitably start going down the rabbit hole, right? You start learning more, becoming more, experienced with what these platforms are actually doing. the light bulb eventually, turns on for folks, and they really realize the full potential of, there's this really like limited, crypto buying and speculation that can happen on a centralized exchange. But once you get off the walls of that centralized exchange into all of Web3, there's so much you can do and so much possibilities. And all these builders that we're talking to are building so many more use cases and utility of getting to that end use case that are going to bring so many more folks through that spectrum. And Kado's serving that end spectrum, that, that last stop on the train. Once you graduate from that centralized exchange experience, you go directly to Kado. Kado is the way that you directly onboard into these Web3 applications, trying to build it as seamless as possible for both new users and crypto natives.
It was really great to see down in Cosmosverse, like this whole core group of people that were building together on Terra that have now, were a bit nomadic for a time, and, thought whether it was, team by team or kind of all of you guys together as one community, being like, where are we going next? And find, Juno that has this great, supportive community, but great, launchpad stack and all of that. So just kind of wanted to hear more about, how that transition went from, the Terra ecosystem into Juno, and like that supportive community there.
Yeah, no, we're big fans of the Juno community as well. It's, again, one of our favorites, one of our top partners that we launched with this past, last week. And working with, Kevin and Jake and all those guys over there has been amazing. And it's, it's a great opportunity. It was almost a no-brainer, again, to kind of, dive into the Juno ecosystem, where it is this permissionless, layer one Cosmos and DeFi ecosystem. And you get to really, it's just, like you said, a launchpad playground where, new projects can deploy permissionlessly and start to experiment with all these new tools that they're building, especially around DAO and kind of like the interchain DAO focus that they're really focused on right now. We were talking to Jake about that last week in Cosmosverse, and he was getting us fired up, right? Like there's a really exciting vision there of, the DAO tooling and the interchain DAO experience is so limited today. And, they're on the front lines of that aspect, which is only going to be a big impact for the Juno builders, but also the rest of IBC. And it's great to be working with both Osmosis and Juno. It's like the yin and yang of, Osmosis is permissioned, right? It's governance gated in terms of adding new platforms, adding new capabilities. And Juno is the other side of it, where it's permissionless, right? Anyone can deploy, anyone can, spin up contracts, and it's a really exciting playground to, play in both sides of it. So it's like the Loop team, we, partnered with those guys. Loop is on, the Juno ecosystem as well. And, part of the, party we did in Cosmosverse was they have their Loop wallet that they partnered with the Obi guys with. And they integrated the Kado on-ramp to Juno directly so that users could, on-ramp, buy a ticket, buy a drink ticket. And it's this really cool, like new, there's a bunch of really fun partners that we're working with on these Juno integrations, and big fans of those guys.
Yeah, it was nice. Like Jake's whole vision, right, was, anyone can come and spin up their, on top of the Juno stack. But then, if you gain liquidity, you gain market share, you gain following, like more than happy to have you go spin up your own app chain, right? Like he wants to have this vision of like Juno as this like incubation pod where people can, I guess, be on the training wheels a little bit and like learn the system, and then, break out these killer app chains to, expand IBC. So it's really nice to see.
Yeah, like you said, the block space is everywhere now, right? Trying to hold everyone on the Juno blockchain and like force them from not going elsewhere is like trying to hold water through your fingers. It's just going to slip through, right? Like you need to embrace the interchain world. This is the new future, and really build towards that, where you're also providing value back to the Juno ecosystem in a pretty synergistic way. So it's very cool.
All right, I'm excited to get into product questions now. I want to dig a little bit deeper into what you guys actually have live right now and what you guys are offering for people throughout the entire crypto space, because this is right here is what made me fall in love with Kado. It's flat out its simplicity of the experience of going from a debit card to an actual wallet. And right now they're live at app.kado.money /ramp. But I'm pretty sure if you can just type in .money, it'll take you here regardless. And so this is their app. This is their working evolution of the app right now. You can do either both buy or sell, which is a very nice and convenient feature. You can actually onboard via several different currencies and truly kind of a global presence here. enjoying the various many options here that are available for people. Excited to see that the Colombian peso has been integrated. Shout out to Cosmosverse down there in Colombia. And then we can get into the assets a little bit. These are the assets that currently you can, and if I'm not mistaken, you can directly send these assets to their given ecosystems. Like if you have Sol, you can send it to a Sol wallet. And then if you have like ETH, you can send it to an ETH wallet. And if you get AVAX, you can send it to your MetaMask. Am I right about that?
Yeah, exactly. And we actually have the ability to connect your Phantom wallet, your Kepler wallet, your MetaMask directly on the platform on the wallet side as well. So trying to make it as seamless as possible there.
And now,
That's
is that USDC, is that chain agnostic? Like, can that USDC go to any of your wallets, essentially? If
Yeah,
that question even makes sense. Okay.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, obviously not all of these. You can't send AVAX to Solana, so but USDC definitely can go to all the chains that were integrated today. And we make it easy in the UI. If you select your blockchain, then you can only send the assets, obviously, that integrate with that blockchain.
So here are all the networks you can. I mean, it's even then 10 minutes is not that bad. I mean, the fact that you can get assets into Ethereum in 5 minutes, or you can get it in Solana in 2 minutes, that's just nuts. That's just crazy. Are there any more plans to integrate any chains beyond these that people can interact with right now?
Absolutely. We're trying to. We've been speaking to many chains. Obviously, in the Cosmos, really focusing there, and also beyond other L1s and new emerging layer 2 ecosystems. We're really, like I said, being strategic with how we integrate, when we integrate, trying to not do too much too soon, and really partner deeply with these ecosystems and not just spray and pray. But really exciting with our partnership with Axelar and Squid, who partners with Axelar on the smart contract flow and the routing of different chains, where Axelar being the leading kind of cross-chain bridge infrastructure, and it enables us to actually on ramp directly into these IBC chains today. So that's why there's 5 more minutes added on to the IBC chain integration flows, just because it's going through that multi-step routing through Axelar. So it actually sends from USDC on Avalanche from our banking partner, and then Axelar prompts up like a intermediary deposit address that then they swap the USDC to Axelar USDC and then send through the bridge to the end app chain. So for the user, it's this direct fiat to Axelar USDC flow directly on these chains, and they're helping us work it on the back end. So Kado doesn't manage the money for them. We're not touching the funds as it goes through the flow. It's all the user kind of driving those actions. And there's a lot of, I'm sure you can imagine, a lot of different Axelar connected chains that can be opened up in the future, as well as Cosmos native USDC coming in the works as well.
Yeah, this is by far, I think, the thing that I'm the most bullish on. I love IBC, love growth there, but this whole frictionless liquidity service that the Kado Axelar Squid stack is creating is something that, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are learning about it right now, but like, I just find that this is sort of the game changer for people being able to be anywhere and have their money anywhere and be living in a fully chain agnostic world. One-click user experiences, obviously transaction fees are a little high right now, but in a world where those are falling as there's more growth in the ecosystem, all of that, the Axelar Squid Kado group is something to definitely watch out for in the future.
Love it. Yeah, I mean, it's really all about again, this multi-chain thesis, this cross-chain interchain thesis. How do we remove the friction of that you're on one blockchain and you have to do this whole song and dance to move to a different blockchain? And like in Web 2 today, you don't know the underlying technology you're using. You're just using the applications, and you're seamlessly moving across applications. Right? These are kind of the building blocks that are going to enable this future in Web 3. And from our standpoint, it's all about removing manual steps that users need to take. Right? The least amount of friction involved, the least amount of manual clicks they need to take, and the least amount of time that it takes them to get there. That's what's going to get more users in the space, more users converted, and so many users drop off from even coming into the space because of all those manual steps they need to take. One of the metrics that we're really trying to coin and focus on is time to wallet. That's the real big focus, like North Star for us, is not only being the cheapest and most secure, but also the fastest. Right? People want their money, they want it now, they want to onboard directly to an application, and it should be as fast as possible. And then you think about the future of not only doing fiat to crypto with these integrations, but also crypto to crypto with these different partnerships we're doing. So, you can imagine the Kado, widget, the Kado, API directly on these front end interfaces to directly onboard from your fiat. But also, if you're a user that's using a, DEX on Polygon and you want to easily onboard something on Solana or on Osmosis, it should be a one-click experience through these different partners and these different rails to start using that application on a different chain instantly and directly. So a lot of exciting stuff in the works there. And, speaking with different, bridging and cross-chain protocols as well. I'm sure you guys saw, Circle's announcement on, the cross-chain, bridging aspect that they're doing, partnering with Axelar and Layer Zero and these different folks as well. So, Circle Ventures invested in our past round, and we're really close with those guys. And again, just talking to all these different players to make it as seamless as possible. To really, for us, it's about access and utility, and all this stuff is about access, and utility will come in the long term. But there's a lot of exciting stuff that's coming with the onboarding focus here.
See, this is why this is the original value thesis that I fell in love with Kado about, was the fact that you guys are cutting out the main use case for me for centralized exchanges was straight up the onboarding process. Like, it was just straight up, like, I never went to a centralized exchange and I was like, oh, I want to go trade perps. Oh, I want to go create a limit order. Oh, I want to go buy this asset. Like, it was strictly me going to this place to just buy this one asset, so then I could take it to my MetaMask, I could take it to my Terra station, I could take it anywhere I wanted to and have that freedom. But with Kado, you guys are plugging in that convenience within actual native ecosystems that are interesting to me. And that's kind of what leads me into my bigger question is what's the next evolution for Kado? I know that you just mentioned that the North Star is time to wallet, which I think is crazy because not many people are already thinking about that. I think centralized exchanges don't even worry about that. They're just
oh my God.
Yeah, they don't even care. I have a friend who has been trying to get into Binance for the past 3 years. His identity still is not confirmed, and he has reached out to Binance.us hundreds of times, and they keep telling him, sorry man, you're just in the queue, and he just cannot be able to onboard through them. So while your guys' product is already literally light years ahead from a centralized exchange experience, I would just love to know and hear the thinking going into this bear market. What's kind of the product evolutions and all these development targets that you guys are having right now?
Totally. So really the immediate focus from us is getting our Kado, widget, our Kado on-ramp API integrated to as many different applications as possible. So we already have a couple that are already live on Kajira, Blue, on Terra Station, working with Osmosis and Juno Swap and Leap Wallet and a bunch of other, projects under wraps that are, going to be spinning up our, on-ramp integration directly into their protocol interface. So that's the name of the game right now for us, and building this kind of key infrastructure that when the next bull run comes around, when people want to get into crypto and get into these applications, there's not that friction anymore. They use Kado, they use these different pieces, these money Legos, and they can seamlessly move in, right? This is the friction that we had coming into the last bull run, where we need these solutions, right? There are more on-ramps that are coming up because it's still a problem that remains unsolved, right? People are like, oh, doesn't MoonPay already exist? Why are you also doing an on-ramp? And MoonPay hasn't, solved the problem yet, right? There's a lot of friction there. So for us, it's really getting this integration on as many platforms as possible and building these direct to protocol integrations. So again, like I said, removing these manual steps for users, and you want to use your fiat to buy crypto, but what do you want to do with that crypto? What's that end use case for you? And let's help you get there in one seamless transaction. Remove the middle steps. Let smart contract do the back end, right? So maybe you're directly making a trade on a DEX with your dollars, right, on Osmosis. Maybe you're directly deploying into liquidity pool from your bank account, and it kind of you can auto ramp with a new feature that we're bringing out, so you can schedule. Maybe you want to auto ramp, $100 into Osmosis every week, every month when you get your paycheck. Maybe you want to buy an NFT on Secret Network. We had an exciting partnership we announced with them last week, where they're doing a lot of cool stuff with the NFT world and bringing new users into the Web3 space. Of they did a Quentin Tarantino partnership, they did Kevin Smith. And it's bringing these new users into the space, and they still can't buy these NFTs because of all the friction involved, right? They need to buy an NFT with their credit card and have everything done in the work in the back end. We're really excited about the gaming space, right? These kind of applications that are going to bring new users into the space, and they need to just connect their bank account, connect their credit card, start playing the game. They're earning these digital rewards. They can easily off-ramp these rewards back to their bank account to start paying for their bills, and a lot of exciting use cases there. But beyond that, I mean, there's so much untouched when it comes to kind of like these Web3 native payments infrastructure needs. And you think about like DAOs or validators and kind of serving those businesses where, they have so much friction in terms of, paying DAOs, paying employees around the world, and these employees, off ramping to their bank account and, having that a seamless manner where, we're working with some cool streaming payments protocols, Apollo DAO, Apollo Pay. We're working on some exciting stuff there in the IBC world where, they have the streaming payment contract and then integrate the Kado off-ramp API directly into that flow so that, DAOs and users can be paid around the world seamlessly, streaming payments, and then programmatically off-ramp to your bank account. Validators, again, they have a lot of friction in terms of moving funds in and taking the rewards, moving back out to their bank account to pay for their business. So a lot of these kind of, new use cases and new verticals we're going to be, opening up into in the future.
Holy shit. That is crazy. Okay, I didn't even consider like the deep, like stepping into the DAO space. And that's something that I've started getting a little bit interested in, especially with Connor. I know, Connor, you're a contributor at Metrics DAO. How long from a DAO perspective, do you know like this is like a need? Because I can imagine everyone needs like that on and off ramp experience.
Yeah, I mean it's 100% a need. The DAO tooling infrastructure is not where it needs to be. It's very, very fragmented. There's no like smooth transition from like work coordination to payment to bank account if that's needed, right? Like for someone like me who has a job, and that I get paid directly in my bank account, and I do metric sale stuff, or at least prior to joining Flipside, right? I was doing metric sale on the side, and being compensated for that, but I didn't need that money to live. That was just my USDC to ETH, USDC to Atom, USDC to Osmo, sort of transfers per month. But we have plenty of people that work in non-US, non-Europe countries, all around the world that money that we're paying in USDC that's sort of normalized to, working hours of how am I trying to say this, right? You get $1,000 a month for working for Metrics now, if you're a strong contributor. Yeah. That $1,000 for me, I was able to use that for investments and for long-term gains, right? But some people may need that $1,000 because that $1,000 is actually, 4 or 5 months of living where they are.
Yeah.
Right? But the gas that it costs to move it from MetaMask to Coinbase might be a barrier of entry for them to actually getting that money in their bank account. Isn't that crazy? Like we're paying them in USDC and they don't have enough ETH in their MetaMask to get it to Coinbase to then transfer it over, or they're using Coinbase address, but Coinbase changes their addresses monthly. So you can send it to this black box and then it's 2 months before you can get it back because Coinbase needs to verify that address is correct. Like all of these things are friction points and pain points for our contributors to get the money that we owe them. And so just having something like this is as smooth as an API changes the game.
That's crazy.
Yeah, clearly it's something I'm passionate about. And yeah, it's just the getting money into people's hands and letting them use it however they want is the important thing. It's not just about going to the bank account or going to your Kepler wallet, right? It's allowing people to use their money however they want it.
All right. Well, I think we've gotten a good point in the interview. I think we've kind of covered and hit on a lot of the goodness that Kado is bringing. Obviously, I'm basically a Kado maxi, but there's nothing for you to invest in. There is no token or coin here that you can be shilled on. So don't worry about that on that front. Vince, do you have any sort of alpha you want to share? Anything you want to shout out to the people watching this? This is your chance to shill Kado or whatever you guys are doing.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot in the works. There's a lot of exciting stuff. Stay tuned. Follow us on Twitter. Come join our Telegram. We're going to be posting more announcements. I would say, we've got some exciting, chains in the works. Some friends over at Injective, Secret, Agoric, Evmos, Stargaze, Say, Neutron, a lot of more we're talking to, and exciting stuff in the works there. I would say Cosmos USDC is coming, and we're ready for it, and that's going to be really exciting. And yeah, I mean, there's some exciting stuff in the future. If you think about, the angle of kind of my background is actually in the loyalty space. I came over from MasterCard in the payments world, doing BD globally for a couple teams there, and we got acquired by MasterCard. My original company was a loyalty software startup powering Starbucks Rewards, these really big, consumer incentive programs across the globe for these big brands. And there's an opportunity here in the Web3 space of driving loyalty for our partners, and a kind of B2B2C angle where NFT badges could come into play, where say that you're on-ramping into a certain ecosystem, a certain platform a lot, and you're collecting some certain rewards and badges where in a kind of opt-in experience that you're going to be getting a lot of rewards from these protocols, from participating and from earning these badges, right? Maybe if you're a Polygon marketplace, you want to target these loyal Solana users to airdrop or experience a free NFT mint on your platform, and a lot of kind of exciting use cases that could be coming about. But for us, that's in the pie in the sky in the future stuff. Right now, we're heads down focusing on this infrastructure 0 to 1 step, and so many folks in the space are doing too much too soon. So we're trying to really be heads down building out these seamless integrations into Cosmos and beyond, and always thinking about the future of ways that we can continue to add value for our integration partners, just to make it a really powerful money Lego setup.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for coming on to the show, formerly known as Terabytes. And so I'm excited to just basically keep bringing you guys more interviews. If you guys want to check out Kado Money, check out all the links in the description. We'll link you to their app. We're going to link you to their website. We're also going to link you to their Twitter. So definitely follow them, check out their Telegram, and just stay in tune with all the different chains that they're deploying, because they're probably the most convenient way of getting into any of the IBC chains at this point. I don't like going through centralized exchanges, and I bet you guys don't either. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next interview.
The content on this channel is for educational and informational purposes only. Nothing we say or do should be considered advice. No tax, legal, accounting, investment, or any other kind of advice. Anything you invest in is at your own risk. Do your own research and consult with professionals.